Yo, what's going on, everybody? Sorry I'm running a little late. It is 3:02 p.m. on Saturday, July 18th, 2020. Yeah, that's it. Sorry I'm running late. I have no good excuse. I've just been sitting here for like the last 20 minutes. But I was uploading some of my results for the Grit Summer Distance Running Project, and then I was looking at like the leaderboards and just like I got lost in the chart, in the numbers, and just comparing myself to other people. So that's why I'm late. And then all the next thing I knew, I was like 2 minutes late for the live stream. Sorry about that. But I'm glad you guys are here. I'm here now. Sorry about that again. But it's good to see everybody. We got Frank LaHoulier, Julian Gomez. We got, let's see, lots of people in here already. Solar Rianix, MC1796, JC, Steve, Hugo Garcia, JC. Welcome, everybody. Recycle on Wendy is here as well. Terrence Huey, Pete G1980, and Stevie 76, and Bert Legas, CJ Cruz, Matthew Wenzel. Good to see everybody. I think there was a question up here that I wanted to get to. Yeah. Frank Lillard says, what's the story with Seth's thing? I guess I'm rich enough that I don't need someone else's shoes, but I'm too poor that I'm going to give away shoes after just a few miles. So I think there's a couple things going on with Seth's thing. It was that, people, and I get it too. I usually refer people to Seth for it, that are like, hey, and then, insert story. And there's usually some sort of story of why someone needs a pair of shoes or could use a pair of shoes that are like real running shoes. And, they'd be happy to take them if they're gently used or new, but they can't get them on their own. And so that's like, I get requests like that all the time. Like a lot of times it'll be something like, I am a high school cross country athlete. I can't afford lots of shoes. Can you send me something? And it's just not something that I do. I donate mine to charity when I'm done with them so that they kind of stay in the local community. But also it's just a lot easier for me to do that than deal with like shipping. And that becomes, I don't know why Seth does it. It's just such a gargantuan task. But so that's part of it. The other part of it is a lot of times people will have a shoe, try it, kind of like, nah, I'm not sure I love it. It might sit in their closet for a little while, and then they realize, oh, I've had this shoe for 3 months. I have no intention of wearing it, but it feels weird to like throw it away. So I think that's kind of part of it. The other part of it is sometimes people will see stuff that's like on sale and just buy it and send it to Seth. So that's kind of like their way of like giving back to the running community. So that's kind of like what's been going on over there. It's been an evolving thing for him, but I know it's becoming a giant task. And so that's why I'm like, I don't have any desire to like, I'm very happy to leave that be Seth's thing. I think it's awesome that he does it. I send him all mine. Like if I have shoes that I end up like, I can't run in this one, or I'm not going to get to it, I'll send it to him. So if I run in a shoe like once and I was like, nope, then I'll send it to him. Or if I have shoes that like just are sitting in boxes and I'm like, this is a winter shoe and it's March, I'm not going to get to it, I'll send it to Seth, that kind of thing. Yeah, so that's it. And then we got another question. Solar Rianix says, hi Kofuzi, if you could pick up only 5 words to describe what is, why choose, what for, whom for, how to use, where to use, which words would these be for? New Balance 1080 shoes. I'm not sure I understand the question. But I mean, if you want like 1080 version 10, it's a max cushion daily trainer. Max cushion daily trainer. 4 words. That's what it's for. I mean, if there's, Frank LaHoulier, max cushion daily trainer, neutral, average runner, road shoe. That's a good one too. I think that's more than 5 words though. But Solar Rianix, if that doesn't answer your question, let me know. I'll try again. Let's see what else we got here. I need some coffee today, even though it's really humid here today. I don't think it's quite so hot, but it's really humid. The air is super thick out. On my run today, I was just having a hard time just like getting a deep breath because it was just like the air was so thick. And then we were just outside sitting in the shade. There's these beautiful giant, I think they're maple trees, but no, they're not maple trees. I don't know what they are. They're trees. They're really tall. They're beautiful. They probably have a wonderful canopy above the front and backyards, my in-laws' house. and the girls had set up a lemonade stand, which wasn't, I mean, a lemonade stand with 4 customers, me, my wife, father-in-law, and mother-in-law. But they had set up, and we had set chairs out, and it was nice, and we were just enjoying outside. And like, just like it was like that level of heat and humidity that like, plus I'm tired from the day, and it was kind of around my normal, like if I take a nap, that's where if I accidentally fall asleep, aka take a nap, that's around the time that happens. So I fell asleep outside, and now I'm like still a little bit groggy, but yeah. So that's why I'm feeling like a little bit tired now. I'm drinking a little bit of coffee, even though it is warm, very warm out here today. This morning though, I thought it was going to storm, and it got to the point where, as I was on my run, there's not a lot of people that I encounter when I'm out here on my run. Although yesterday I saw, well, they were like more than a block away, so real far. I saw 2 runners and 4 walkers. So it was like the most people I've ever seen during one activity. And they were all far where I can get far from them all. But down the main street, there's a dude that sits out on the street every day, and he just sits and watches the traffic goes by, and he waves. And I usually, when I drive by, I always wave to him. And I ran, and I was running on his side of the street, so I jumped out into the street to get, make sure he had enough room. And it was to the point with the weather today where I was like, I finally said something to him. I've been seeing that guy for years, but I actually said something to my in-laws know his name. I should figure out his name, but or introduce myself next time. But I wanted to keep my distance, and I just said, I think we're getting a storm today. And I feel like that's the first time I've said a sentence like that to a complete stranger or just someone else like out in the community. And I feel like I'm starting to belong here, because that's the kind of thing that people around here say all the time. Yeah. I said it without any hint of irony. I was like, I think a storm's coming. And he's like, sure, it looks like it. So I felt validated. I felt good. Oh, man. BJT42 says, Kofuzi, I see you are hitting some amazing weekly mileage at the moment. Are you planning to juice any speed work over the summer? Maybe down to 6-minute miles or so? Maybe. I'm kind of interested in maybe after the mileage is from, well, I just like running this much miles. 70 to like 80 miles a week is a nice sweet spot for me. Enough that I feel like I'm getting workouts in terms of like cumulative fatigue and like getting miles in and building a whole bunch of base. But not so much that I'm like really struggling to get through like my days. In terms of speed work, well, the reason for that mileage, though, 1 is I like it. 2 is I'm going to do about a 50K run coming up next week. So then after that, I'm thinking it might be a good time to then come down and maybe not train for a 5K time trial, but like, I don't know, maybe do some more higher level intensity work for a little bit. So that's something that I'm thinking about. So I might, but I don't really have any current plans for that. I just don't like running fast that much. 6-minute miles is like kind of my goal 5K pace. So like if I were to train for a 5K, the 6 minute per mile is what I'd kind of be focusing in on. But I don't, I don't like running that speed. It's not pleasant for me to do that. So that's why, like, if absent a goal, it's not a place that I would normally go to. That's the thing. MC1796 says, speaking of speed, new PR in the mile and 400, 6 seconds in the 400, and 5:29 in the mile. Even though my pacer took me through the first lap way too fast at 75 seconds. Nice work. That's great. That's amazing. Good speed. Congratulations. See, I need that bell. Today, I'm going to look for it. Tomorrow, I'll figure out a bell noise that I can play. I got to get on top of that. Carlo Van Niekirk says, hey, Kofuzi, what are your best running hat recommendations? I have 2 brands that I love. Ciele hats, Ciele. I never know if I'm saying it right, and no one ever corrects me or confirms. But Ciele hats, they make ones with these giant big perforations in it that are just great. Let so much air flow through, and they're nice and floppy. You can throw them in the washing machine when you're done. It's great. Path Projects is my second favorite hat. They have ones with all their hats, even their trucker hats, are made with wicking material, so tech material. So that way, again, like if it gets wet, it dries quickly, and you can throw those in the wash as well, and there's no problem. So those are the two brands that I like. I'm looking at, I don't think I ordered it yet. It might be in my shopping cart at Amazon. But I want to look at some of the Buff brand hats, the company that makes the neck gaiters. So I want to look at some of those because I feel like those are nice. And then I have another hat coming in the mail. We'll see. We'll see how that one. It looks kind of like a CLE hat. For a while, I thought they were CLE hats, but I don't think that they are. But I'll show you guys that one once that arrives. But those are the two that I love. Mr. Random says, "Hi all, how was your long run Saturday? 17.5 miles in today." That's awesome. That's a good long distance, especially for a day where I think a lot of at least the northern hemisphere is seeing, well, the U.S. is seeing a lot of heat. I don't know about the rest of the northern hemisphere, but in summertime here, in the northern hemisphere and in the U.S., a lot of people are getting some heat. Dan Rodriguez says, in terms of mine, my run was 12 miles. Again, I ran with that same dog. And this time when I got by the farm, I just didn't try to not make the dog not come with me. Although what's funny is there's two dogs. I found out the other dog's name is Daisy. Daisy and Gunner. Daisy barks and I don't know, like either hears me or smells me coming from a long ways away because I hear the barking long before I could see the dog. So I hear the barking, and then the other dog, Gunner, the one that runs, came running and just ran with me. And I tried to I made like one attempt to get the dog to stay. It wouldn't. So I was like, fine, we're going for a run. So we ran almost 5 miles together. I went to the busy road part. He was still with me, so I took him back home. And then again, as we were coming back to the house, to that house where the dog lives, Daisy, the other dog, barked like crazy. And I saw a tennis ball in the yard. So I thought, aha, either the owner left me a clue or I figured something out. I pick up the tennis ball. I got the dog to I got the dog's attention, Gunner, the one that runs with me. And I threw it, thinking then the dogs would play with each other, play with that ball, and then I could just run off. But what ended up happening is that Daisy, the dog that was further back, got to the tennis ball first, and then Gunner was like, well, now I got nothing to do. So he came back after me again. And so this time the farmer came out, this time with the dog treats container, and was rattling it, and was like, come on, Gunner, stay here, stay. And I felt bad, and we talked some more, and I was like, I'm really sorry that I keep making you have to come out of the house, and I'm disrupting your morning, and I feel bad. And she was like, I'm sorry the dog keeps chasing after you. She's like, the dog must like you for some reason. I'm like, I don't know. But that's the story. That was my run for today. Hopefully your guys' runs were fun too. I had a lot of fun with the dog. It was fun. Dan Rodriguez says, recommend any max cushion shoe with wide toe box. What's it say? With wide, I lost it. I think it was, all right, here we go. Recommend any max cushion shoe with wide toe box outside of Ultra. I think that a lot of Hoka shoes come in wide sizes, so then the Bondi 6. I don't know if the Triumph 17 comes in a wide or the 1080 version 10. I don't know if those come in a wide as well, because that would certainly help. I would say of the two, I'm not sure of 1080 versus the Triumph 17. I'm not sure which one has the wider toe box, to be honest with you. I feel like though with the form, I think it's form fit that's on the Triumph 17. It just is it's not tight fitting, but it's very enveloping, that upper style. And so maybe the 1080 might be a better choice to look at. Lloyd DLC says, hey, what's going on, Kofuzi? Shout out from Manila, Philippines. Represent. Awesome. What's going on, dude? Yeah. And I think Martha's jumping in between this live stream today and Seth's, which is cool. I totally understand that. I don't think Seth does his live stream with a ton of regularity anymore. So if you guys are curious to see what's going on, definitely go over there. I'll be here today. I'll be here tomorrow. So feel free to hop back and forth or just hang out over there. I'm cool. Yeah. Stevie76 says, when you see a dude sitting on the side of the road, take a right. That's funny. All right, we got a super chat coming in from Ben Eng. Thanks so much, Ben. It says, hi, not been in the last few live streams as I've been saving these for my runs. Awesome. Thanks for doing these. Well, thanks so much, Ben. Thanks so much for stopping by today and also for taking us along on your runs. That's cool. I do put them out. I mean, you could always stream them from the YouTube app if you can listen to the YouTube while you run, or I've been making them as podcasts too. So I feel like it's kind of like a radio call-in show where you're just listening to it and going. I hope you guys are enjoying that. And Ben, it seems like you are, so thank you so much. And I'm glad you are. Chris Dyke says, hey, Kofuzi, hey, all. What's going on, Chris? Frank LaHooyer says, are you tapering? I'll do kind of like a what I like to do with a taper, which is, I'll probably take off the day before. Hopefully I'll remember to take off the day before because I forgot to take a day off before the 10K time trial. But I'll take off the day before I do it. I think I'm going to do it next Thursday. I'm just looking at the weather now. Like anytime next week I think will be fine for me. But I'm looking at the weather to see when would be a good day. It's just going to be like nothing exceptionally hot, nothing exceptionally cool on any of those days. So I think it's going to be Thursday. I'll have to check with my wife's schedule because I'll need her to drive me to help drop off a car. And then, so we'll do that. I might, if I do it Thursday, I'll take Wednesday off. I might take Tuesday off or just do a real short run on a Tuesday. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with that. Patrick Fung is here. 42 BJT 42 says he has the same target goal of 6 minutes per mile for his 5K as well. Yeah, it hurts. It's a fast speed for me. Juan Garcia says, dogs chasing is one thing. I had a showdown with a javelina on Thursday. Whoa. I'm glad you're all right. Well, I hope you're all right anyway. Martha says she's here. She'll watch sets after the fact because she donated some shoes back in March and would enjoy knowing who ends up with them. Yeah, I'm curious too. But the thing is, I've seen how many shoes he has like waiting to get sent out, and he has a lot. It's got to take a long time. It's just gonna have to be like a random, like boom, 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 boom. Here's like a list of 50 people that get shoes. Like I don't know how he's gonna do it, but it seems crazy. But I sent over I think 4 pairs of shoes a little while, like a couple months ago. So we'll see. MC1796 says, how do you learn how to pole vault? A lot less natural of a movement than running. LOL. Yeah, you do it in baby steps. So at first you get the big pole, but you don't bend it. It takes a while to learn how to really bend the pole. So you run a little bit and you kind of just jump and you get used to like planting it in the box and then, landing in the mat. So you start with that. And then you run a little bit further out and kind of do the same thing. And it kind of looks like, we talked about it the other day. What are they, like warrior games? The ones where they have this, they call it, what is it, the saber? The giant telephone pole and you run with. They have something like that in those things too, where they run with the giant pole and it doesn't really bend and you stand on it and then you like let go and kind of like try to get across a river. That's kind of how you learn how to pole vault. And then they put you on, at least for how I learned was, they have like, all the poles are designed to carry and bend and spring back for a person's certain amount of weight. And they have these trainer poles that bend extra fast. They don't spring you up that high, but you get used to the idea of bending. So then you start using on trainer poles, and then you get onto the bigger poles and kind of keep going. It is not natural though. I didn't have a coach for pole vaulting in high school. We had a guy that came in like once a week. And in between that, I was kind of on my own, and I was doing some stuff that was real bad. I messed up my back real bad. I don't think I did any permanent damage, but I was doing it all. I was kind of doing it wrong, and it was like just putting weird strains on my back. So I figured it out a little bit. Steve Arnberg says, did not know this was available as a podcast. We'll try that on a run. Yeah, I haven't tried. Maybe I should try it personally. I don't know. I think that would be weird to listen to one's own podcast on a run to see what like the listening only experience is. But I think it's getting like, I'm averaging like 70 or 80 listens per day by podcast. So I feel like that's pretty good. Sylvie Bona says, hey man, if you can only run in one shoe, what would it be? Right now, if I could only run in one shoe, I think it would be the Endorphin Speed. If of all time I could only run in one shoe, it would be the Pegasus 33 Shield. That's one of my favorite shoes of all time. But sentimental choice aside, my real answer would probably be, of any shoe ever, probably the Vaporfly 4% Flyknit. That I thought was a great shoe. Yeah, Martha wants to know, where are the javelinas in the U.S.? Arizona or New Mexico? Rain Runners has to Google what a javelina is. Casey Petty says javelina equals a puma. Pumbaa. Sorry. People are Googling what a javelina is. Scott says fast, short, or slower long runs better for distance training. Slower long runs for building base. I think like yes to all of them. Fast, short, or slow, long. I think, or I guess both of those. You build base by the slow, long runs. The way I like to think of it is not like people think of it as base building and like think of it as like a pyramid. I don't think of it that way. I think of it more of like making a blade, right? You forge the steel, you like collect the steel, you make the steel first, and then you hone it, right? And so people have been asking me in terms of like low heart rate training too, like when do you start introducing the speed work? You start introducing the speed work when you have a race. So you forge and you forge and you forge, and then you hone the blade to a very sharp, fine point. So that's kind of how I think of running, or at least training for races. Brad Tui says, what would be a good running shoe to pair with the Kinvara 11? I would say the Triumph 17. But if you're looking for a racer, then the Endorphin, like you could do Kinvara 11 as the daily trainer every day, and then use the Endorphin Speed or the Endorphin Pro as your racer. Assuming you were talking about like marathon distances. If you're going shorter distances, I feel like a good 1-2 punch with the way that the Kinvara 11 rides would actually be like the Kinvara 11 and like the Meta Racer if you're talking about some shorter distances. I like those two shoes together. EV says, saw a guy with a selfie stick running the lakefront trail this morning. Thought it was you for a second. That's awesome. I'm glad that it's catching on. Yeah, because I was watching, who was it? Instagram story was it? Emily Heller's, and like her friend had like, got some footage of Emily running with her selfie stick, and I was like, see, it doesn't look that weird. I mean, it looks weird, but it doesn't look that weird. So, I'm hoping it catches on. Casey Petty says, Kofuzi, I know you listen to audiobooks. Any suggestions? I've listened to a few, but usually get bored with the narrative. Ready for that Mike co-narration? I would love to be a professional audiobook narrator. That would be great. The other thing, though, is I also get really mad when narrators don't, or when authors don't narrate their own books. That's frustrating to me. Especially if it's like a celebrity, right? Like when a runner writes a book. Or when someone that's gone on a great adventure is telling you something factual, if they then someone else narrates the story, it seems like such like a why did you I wrote the book because of the way this person like climbed Mount Everest or like ran across the desert, like. But anyway, so some recommendations. The running books that I've really enjoyed are Darren Finn's books. That's really good. I also enjoy Matt Fitzgerald's books, Matt Hutchinson. There's a lot of Matts that write and run. I also generally just like Malcolm Gladwell. He reads all his own audiobooks, and he's a podcaster as well as a fantastic author. And so always just very insightful to listen to him speak. But I mean, the best audiobook I probably ever listened to was, I'm trying to blank on it, Can't Hurt Me. That one's just absolutely amazing. I mean, I could listen to that one multiple times, I think, and still enjoyed it. So, yeah. World Travere says, hi again from Seattle. Any thoughts on a good daily neutral trainer with a wide toe box and good padding for long, slow runs to build up your base? Thanks. I'm right now running in the Ride 13, and I'm really enjoying that shoe. It's not the widest toe box, though. I think it used to have a wider toe box. This year, I feel like it got a little narrower, but I've been enjoying that. I also feel like the Clifton 6, I don't have the Clifton 7 yet, but I feel like the Clifton 6 also has a really good size toe box and is great for that. I also like the Ultra Escalante, if you're talking about wide toe boxes. There was an earlier question that specifically excluded Ultras, but if we can include it, I do like the Escalante quite a bit. There's a lot of stack height on that shoe, 24 millimeters of stack height, and I just feel that's a lot, and it's nice and comfy. But on that shoe, it's the Ultra Ego Foam. It's got a little bit of bounce to it too, so it's nice. BJT42 says, I would like to hit all the marathon majors before I kick the bucket. Which of the U.S. races do you recommend first? Chicago, Boston, or New York? Or a different U.S. marathon completely? Well, I mean, I think that, I don't know where you are, but in terms of any of the three, do the ones that you can get into whenever you can get into them. So like my running buddy and I are like, we're just going to apply to like Berlin, London, New York, Chicago, and Boston like every year. We'd like to run Tokyo, but like that's not just like we'll go because we got in this year. I think that's just like such a bigger trip. But yeah, we've been thinking about like, you know, you just keep applying every year and you go whenever it is that you go. That's kind of how I feel about it. And then Boston, you have to qualify as well, so like that adds another wrinkle to it too. So. Ooh, Stevie76 says, FedEx just dropped off his Endorphin Speed an hour ago. Nice. Robert Archuleta says, hi, Mike. What trails did you run in Scottsdale when you were here? By the way, it's 111 today. The ones that I ran were in, like, is it like the McDonald, like, nature preserve or park or something like that? It's, like, north of, I was staying at the Talking Stick Resort. That's where I was staying for work that time, and those are trails that I enjoy up there. Like there is like Lost Dog Wash. There's a whole bunch of trails. Look up Lost Dog Wash. That's one you'll find, and there's a whole like series of trails. I think Sunset Ridge or something like that is another. Sunset Ridge I think is another one. McDowell, I want to say McDowell. I don't remember. I think there's some Arizonans in here. Maybe you guys can help me out. But that's the area that I like. You know, when I did those runs, the altitude is like 1,000 feet. I'd go anywhere between like 600 to another 1,000 feet on top of that, which to me feels like running up a mountain. And I feel like that's a good amount of climbing for me. Still leaves your legs plenty fresh enough to come, you know, barreling down the hill, which is my favorite part. So, yeah. Casey Petty says, listening to Finding Ultra by Rich Roll now, not loving it. It wasn't my favorite audiobook. I like Rich Roll, and it was interesting to learn more about like his story. But I also feel like that story is really designed and intended for an audience that maybe is a little bit different than me. So like, there were times where I found myself like I guess rooting against Rich Roll as a character in a novel, you know, in terms of like some of the things that he was like kind of like dealing with through his like growing up. I know that's a weird way to say you're rooting against like an actual human being, but I didn't like really connect with him so much in terms of like his early years. So that, and then at the end it's like a cookbook. So I didn't listen to that part because I'm like, I'm not going to listen to someone recite recipes at the end, like in audiobook form. So, but yeah, I would, if you haven't listened to Can't Hurt Me, definitely go listen to that one. Meb Keflezighi's book, I think his first one is the one that I've listened to on audiobook. That was also a good one as well. But the narrator is not Meb, and it's someone with not like an American English accent, so it was really confusing. Or a strange, like American English accent. All right, let's see. Recycle on Wednesday says, my favorite audiobook experience is comedians narrating their own memoirs. I've never done that. I might have to look that up. That's a great idea. Nathan says, thanks for the recommendation on the Triumph 17s. They are a nice change from the Bondi 6. Awesome. I'm glad that they're working out for you, Nathan. And let's see. Someone said... Casey Pay said, Malcolm Gladwell is incredible. Thanks for the suggestions. Awesome. I hope you find something that you like. Sylvia Bona says, in this heat, are you trying to keep a certain pace, or are you just trying to get through the run? These days, unless I have like a workout planned, I'm just kind of running easy. And I feel like now with like I've been doing low heart rate training enough where like my sense of easy, I'm probably running a little bit harder than what easy should be, but I'm staying within kind of my low heart rate range. So like I'm just kind of running. Not hard. If I'm feeling a little tired, I'll run a little bit slower. If I'm feeling good, I'll run a little bit faster. There are days where I've had some kind of tune-up workouts to get ready for this like almost 50K that I'll be running soon. And so then I don't run by pace even then. I run by heart rate. And so like I kind of have a goal heart rate that I want to be using for this 50K event. And so I've been running like intervals or long repeats at that pace, at that heart rate. So a level of effort, not necessarily pace. So like it's not that I don't care, but the pace is not what I'm shooting for. It's the exertion. So that's how I deal with it. Abdullah says, I just can't get rid of shin splints. I've tried stability shoes, low mileage, rice. Maybe you need hype rice. Nothing seems to be working. Anybody has any other methods that work for them? Yeah, I usually like heat at night, like a heating pad. If I've had it, that's what I like to put on. And alternate heat and night, heat and cold. So then like heat until like everything gets nice and loose, and then like when it's actually like actively hurting, then I sit down. So that's kind of like some of the things that I might do. But I think just got to rest through it. Yeah, I mean, for me, the only time I get things that are like shin splints these days are when I run in stability shoes. So not running in stability shoes. Stability shoes usually cause me to get those kinds of pains. So that's another thing. Oh, Frank says running on grass works for him. I think that works for a lot of people too. Finding softer surfaces is another great tip. That's true. James Chin says, hey Kofuzi, do you think keeping track of cadence is important to running longer miles? Higher cadence may make long runs easier, harder. I think that there is a school of thought that says tracking cadence is extremely important. And I'm not going to say that they're wrong, but I personally don't keep track of cadence. I feel like cadence and running form are a reflection of your level of fitness or your instantaneous level of fatigue at a given pace. And so, like trying to run at a faster cadence doesn't make you a better runner. Becoming like a stronger, better runner, as a result of that, your cadence may improve. I think people are putting it backwards. Stevie76 says, y'all have the souped up kiddie pool with a huge slide? Those look fun. Maybe get a slip and slide too, and your yard could look like a water park. There's nothing like jumping in the pool after a hot run. We don't have like a super like big one. There's one that has like 2 circles in it. One is a little bit deeper than the other, and there's like a little inflatable slide that even the 4-year-old, or the 3, she's not 4 yet, she'll be 4 next month. But the 3-year-old, even she like has to kind of like pretend she's sliding down in it, because either of the 2 kids, when they sit on it, they just flatten it, and so there's not really a lot of slide action. So it's that. We've had it before where we've put a slip and slide in front of a larger kiddie pool in this yard, because there's a slight downhill to the yard, and it's nice, but I think it just tears up the grass. Slip and slides are horrible for your grass, and so like having experienced, at least in the house in Guttenberg, like importance of the yard here, I don't want to like mess up my mother-in-law's grass. The other day she got really mad at the neighbor. Like, she didn't say it to him, but she got mad because the neighbor mowed lawn a couple days early. And then so she's like, so then I had to mow my lawn. And so that's definitely something that happens here. I mean, the neighbor on the other side, he works, so apparently my father-in-law knows that he only mows on Fridays. No matter what Friday he mows. But lots of other people, they'll mow on the same day. So like if you switch up the schedule, it pisses everybody off because now I gotta mow. So it's peculiar. I think it's amazing. I love it. But I've never experienced anything like that before. But long story short, I don't want to like mess with the grass too much. Even I feel bad about putting the kiddie pool in the grass because I know that's not going to be good for that grass either. Yeah. All right. CJ Cruz says, I read that wide shoe sizes are just more upper material and not a wider midsole. Is that true? I actually don't know. I don't know. I never thought about that. It could be more upper. Like, I think maybe the shoe mold, like the foot mold that is designed around is bigger, is just wider, but maybe the midsole is still the same size. I don't know. I guess that's a great question. Ines Dunbar says, how's it going, Ines? I think Cadence is good to keep an eye on, but thinking about it on a run doesn't work well for me. Better if I try and run tall and keep good running posture. I think that's a sensible way to approach it too. Like to look at it and see, like, I think that like for people that are running intervals, if you're doing mile repeats or half mile repeats, like Yasso 800s or something, to think about like, all right, when I'm getting tired, if I try and focus on, running tall, or as my high school track coach called it, running pretty, you got to run pretty. Then it seems like my effort is less. So if you can combine perceived effort, your intention to run with proper form or to run more efficiently, and you're actually looking at the data and the metrics, then I think that's useful. But like Ines says, like thinking like, ooh, am I at 180? I'm not sure. I may better pick it up a little bit. I'm not sure how well that works. Although some people have mentioned, because we've talked about this on live streams before, that there are playlists on like Spotify that are at 180 beats per minute that you can listen to. So that way you don't have to think about it. You just have to like step to the beats, which I think could be really, really useful if that's something that you're looking at. Jody Run says, I would mow on a different day each week just to mess with the neighbors. Oh, I think that would make you persona non grata if you did that. I would be reluctant to like egg on the neighbors in that regard. But I probably would start doing stuff like that. Like, because I probably like, I don't. Do people mow in the same pattern every time? Like, do you always go like this way, or do you sometimes switch it up? Because I remember when I had to mow lawns back in last time I did it with any regularity was in high school. I would switch. Sometimes I would just do a spiral that got smaller and smaller, and other times I would go diagonal, and I would just do it a different time each time because it's just such a boring activity. But yeah. Frank LaHoya says, someone should do a dissertation on the anthropology of lawn mowing. I wonder if also, oh, that was a bug. I wonder if also like there are big regional differences to it, not only because there's different types of grasses, but I wonder if like different cultural, socioeconomic differences to it. I wonder if there's some sort of correlation. I bet you there are lots of correlations that you could pick out from it. All right. Casey Petty says to CJ Cruz's question, I'm an E, not an EE. And some brands do more material, some do a wider last. Also varies between the models. New Balance is good about using a wider last. Oh, okay, good to know. But also unfortunate that it's not like, oh, you know exactly what a wide size exactly needs. JC says, I'm proud to say I'll never win Yard of the Month. Yeah, I would never. I'm the kind of guy that would get like if we were in the South, like the bless your heart, you try so hard kind of thing. If we owned a house, it would be one of the things where around here, a lot of people will mow for their neighbors if that neighbor is elderly. You know, you just mow the neighbor's lawn for them. Well, you're already out there, so you just mow both, kind of thing. My brother-in-law, he will ride the riding lawnmower around town. He'll go up to do his mom's yard, and then he'll come back to his yard, and he might do like another one. Like he'll just drive that thing around town. And I feel like my yard would be the one that someone else mowed for me to be nice. I think that's what would end up happening. Yeah. Recycle on Monday says, my childhood neighbors had trouble getting their lawn to grow when they first built their house. The rest of the street, except my parents, signed a petition about it. Wow. Yeah, I feel like I'd be like, can I just rock it? Like, I love that. That's one of the reasons why I love houses in Arizona. There's just rocks and like cactuses and stuff. I mean, I know that you can grow grass there and lots of houses have grass, but I'll be like, it's more environmentally friendly to just have rocks in the front yard and then pavement in the back and a pool, maybe a pool. That's what I would like if I lived in Arizona. So I think that's what I need to do. I was also thinking like, I would very quickly find out who has like a kid that wants to make a couple bucks mowing a lawn or something. That's what I would figure out. Chris Dyke said, I worked grounds at a golf course during college. The ultimate lawn mowing experience. I bet. Chris, did you also have to deal with moles? My father-in-law is currently has been mole hunting. There are a handful that are starting to infiltrate the lawn. And my daughter thinks it's fascinating. But my father-in-law doesn't want them to watch him do it because if he finds it, he kills it. So, but like he's out there and he's just like staring at the grass, like stomping his feet every once in a while. And he brings his shovel out there with him. I don't know. I haven't seen his like kill stroke, but yeah, he's out there and he's looking for moles. And I think of Caddyshack every time he goes out there to do it. But I've also seen the damage that they're doing to the yard. It's really tearing stuff up. Patrick Funk says, I mow when the grass is long. And yes, I mow it in a certain pattern. Got to be efficient as well, so I can go run more. I was also thinking that I might buy a lawn mowing robot. That's probably what I would do. Yeah, Zamar saying, if you get a house, you need to get a robot mower. They are amazing. I mean, I think, though, that if I did, then people would be like, it would be like, of course, this guy has the robot lawnmower and doesn't want to go get his hands dirty. So I feel like, if anything, I'd have to like go and like. I love the sound of like a non-powered mower. Have you ever pushed one of those? It's just like the spinning blades. It just makes like a sound. It's so relaxing, and especially if you get those blades nice and sharp, you could see like the grass like getting like sliced. It's beautiful. I feel like I would need to do that, or like, I don't know how I'd get a riding mower because I feel like I would need to get a push, and I need to show that I can do it myself. I feel like that's how you like. Otherwise, the neighbor's gonna be like, that guy's not like us. So I feel like, yeah, the lawn would give me a lot of social anxiety, I think. Yeah. Scott says someone else mows my grass. I think though that that's why I would have to be like a kid of a neighbor, because I feel like I just like hired a service to mow it. I feel like I would get talked about around here. So. Chris Dyke says, in terms of the moles, not so much on the fairways, but on the longer grass occasionally. Oh, yeah. You guys talk about Patrick Bung says, Lawnmower Man is not really a lawn mowing movie. And Rainer says, yes, I know that much, but could you imagine if it was just about lawn mowing? There's got to be a movie about this. Like this, I feel like this is like really great, like satire / comedy / like reality like material. Like I'm so fascinated by the lawns around here. Casey Pay says, why isn't lawn Roomba a thing yet? It is a thing. I've seen ads for them. Stevie76 says, waking up to those leaf blowers is not relaxing. A lot of people here will mow their lawns. They don't have the bag mowers, so they'll mow the lawns and then they'll blow the clippings, which I'm just like, wow, that seems like a lot of work. Like the wind will take care of it, won't it? I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't understand the blowing thing. I don't really understand. Like I understand blowing leaves because that's easier than raking them, but like blowing like the grass clippings, I don't get. And it's probably another thing that the neighbors would like grumble about for my house if I had a house. Martha says, okay, I think we're reaching the next Kofuzi Weird Mile race in the series. On a grass course, you have to push a lawnmower. Old-fashioned kind. Rainrunner says, in Mizuno's. I mean, those have been good lawn mowing shoes for me. Because there's so much rubber and grip on the outsole. But, yeah, I mean, there are lawnmower races. Like people will modify their riding mowers and then like they're like drifting as they come around the corners and stuff. That looks really funny. But like pushing a lawnmower that'd be kind of fun. That'd be amazing. Cause then imagine if you did it in a field and like we'll get a drone up in the air and we'll see like what does the mowing look like. Right. I think you would have to actually have like a regular mower. That could be so dangerous. But like maybe not a self-propelled, but like an actual motorized mower, so that you could like run with it, and it would just be like, oh, can you imagine like the GoPro footage? It'd just be like, ah, that'd be fun. Chris Yao says, The Straight Story. The film is based on the true story of Alvin Straight's 1994 journey across Iowa and Wisconsin on a lawnmower. That's funny. I mean, I'm sure it's not funny, but like, yeah. 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 I think Jody Run says, I think you need to do a video with lots of B-roll on everyone's lawn. I would love to, but I don't want to like, I'm reluctant to film other people's houses, especially since I don't know them, you know? So that's the only reason out of deference for the neighborhood, I don't really want to do that. But, that would be kind of funny. I think what would be funnier is if like, there were a way without like, I don't want to embarrass anybody. Not that I don't think it's embarrassing, but like, I don't want to like put anybody on the spot. Like if once someone starts mowing, like listening to all the other houses that start mowing too. It's really like, I mean, I've been here for weeks before. I just never noticed the lawn mowing thing. Ben Eng says, you can't leave dead grass on the lawn. It strangles the grass. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, Frank Mahulier says, some push mowers have grass catchers. Yeah, the first house that my parents ever bought, it was a small little plot in Piscataway, New Jersey, and the backyard was real nice. It was like not fenced in, but someone had planted these tall fir trees that went like just straight up. And then in the back, there were these really tall, like, I don't know, other kinds of pine trees. And that was the back of the property. And then we had a bag mower, and whenever the bag filled up, we would put it underneath the pine tree, because underneath the tall pine trees in the backyard, there was no like grass or anything growing there anyway. So that's where we would dump all the grass clippings. So that's what we would do. That would have been 30 years ago. That was in the 90s. Stevie76, time-lapse mowing. I would only do that if I had a drone up. Put the drone up, and you can watch me running around. That would be kind of fun. Martha says she's enjoying some of the artwork of people's runs on Strava. Yeah, I wish I could do that. I don't have the patience for it. I would get so annoyed. BubTub says, thinking Kofuzi would go for an iRobot lawnmower. I would want one. I feel like if I bought a house in the suburbs in Chicago, I'd probably get one. If I bought a house out here, I don't think that's gonna. No, that's gonna cause a little bit of a scandal. Franklin Lear says, David Lynch directed the Stray Story. I gotta watch this now. Wow, amazing. JC says, George Jones famously pulled over drunk driving while riding a lawnmower to the liquor store. Did I remember that right? That's a funny story. Around here, and a lot of places in the country, like driving around a golf cart or some sort of like 4-wheel vehicle that's not like an ATV, but a 4-wheel that's kind of like in the vein of like a golf cart. I call them gators. I don't know why they're called. I think that must be the brand name or a model. But is really popular. You know, the ones that have like the little orange flag on it, and sometimes they'll have like a mirror up there, but like they're not really street legal. But some towns have like ordinances that allow it. The word is that they're moving to pass one in this town, but they're all over the place. And my wife and I don't really like it at all because we just presume that either it's a kid that's too young to drive, even though the driving age here is really, really low, or it's someone that's just tanked. And I'm just like that like just stay away as far as you can. That's kind of how I see it. But when we were in Guttenberg, they're everywhere. People have them, and I think that's just what people drive around. Like I'll see like I saw one where it was a family of 4 in it, and they had 2 young kids, and then another one where it was like I think what it was like a family of 4 and 2 friends, and they were sitting facing out on the back seats. So there were 6 people in one of those things. It wasn't a lawnmower, but it was a golf cart or a gator or something along those lines. But yeah. Well, we got on a big tangent on lawn mowing today, but that was pretty fun. I think that's a good place to leave it for today too. Thanks everyone for tuning in or hopping back and forth between this one and Stats. It was good to see you guys here. Fantastic time talking about lawn mowing. I'm gonna have to go watch that documentary, The Straight Story, because I think it's absolutely fascinating. Maybe I'll watch The Lawnmower Man too. I don't really have time to watch movies, but I have time. I just don't make it a priority. But I'm gonna try and find The Straight Story. Hopefully it's on Netflix. We'll see. Chris Dyke says, I aspire to have a golf cart as my main mode of transport. We'll see. Rainrunner says, happy mowing, everyone. That's a great way to end. Happy mowing, everybody. Hope you're staying safe out there on your mow. And I'll see you in the next one.